Hello, everyone. Welcome to HB Studio Online. I'm HB Studio's Executive and Artistic Director, Edith Meeks, and I want to thank you for joining us for this second event in our collaboration with the Institut Ramon Llull, Playing Together, Catalonia at HB. I want to thank the Institut Ramon Llull for making this extraordinary menu of contemporary work in the Catalan theater available to us, and to the extraordinary company La Conquesta del Pol Sud and the creators of MIVION, Radio Sarajevo, for sharing this play, a play about witnessing both firsthand and through our curiosity and compassion for the experiences and losses of another. This project began with a conversation in HB's Artistic Council about the narrowing of America's vision with nationalist policies on immigration and cooperation and the impact on artists of this global isolation, compounded with the physical isolation of the pandemic. We are a studio that treasures the contributions of our international students, and we wanted to foster curiosity and connection for our whole community of artists, deeper awareness and understanding across all boundaries. There are questions we feel we need to be asking together about the systems of oppression operating in our world and the persistent tensions between what is us and what is other. I want to give my deep thanks to Maria Fontanals, who took my invitation to reach out to her network, running with it, connecting us to Ramon Llull and Jadranka Versalovic-Kuravic, who curated the plays in our series for us. And we hope you will stay tuned. There's more Catalan theater coming to this platform in October, when we will be presenting two plays, Solitude and Solitude in Stromboli, for discussion. So I'm going to turn it over now to Jadranka, our beautiful and energetic partner, and then we'll hand it off to Maria, who will introduce the artists and moderate our talk. And we look forward to hearing your questions about the play as well. You can enter them into the Q&A, see the link at the bottom of your screen, and we'll shift to audience questions as the last part of our program.
Thank you, Edith. And in the first place, I would like to thank HB Studio and Edith and Maria personally for their interest, for approaching us and for initiating this amazing collaboration. As you might know, Institut Ramon Llull is the Catalan Cultural Institute. We promote Catalan language and culture abroad. We are funded by the government of Catalonia, a region in Spain, the government of Balearic Islands, another region, and also the city of Barcelona. I invite you to explore our website. You can find out more about our grants, travel grants for artists, programs, different opportunities. But when Edith and Maria approached me with this idea, we were all very happy because this is exactly the kind of collaborations we want and we love to do and we are here to do. So their interest in featuring Catalan theater, Catalan plays, and giving their audience and their community the opportunity to meet the artists and the artistic crew. We were there to help. They suggested a series of topics. They suggested a series of plays. Between all of us, we figured out how to do it. And here we are. We are thrilled to be part of this collaboration. We hope to see you also in the fall for 2 more plays. And I also want to thank the artistic crew of La Conquesta del Pol Sud for taking part in this event. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edith and Jadranka. Okay, so let's start. Welcome everyone to our second public conversation of the series Playing Together, Catalonia at HB Studio. Again, I feel very honored to be your host for this coming hour, and I will open the chat to the audience in about half an hour, so you feel free to write your questions in the chat and I will read the questions for you. And before I start, again, thank you Institut Ramon Llull and HB Studio team for making this series a reality. Okay, so before we proceed, I would like to let you know that we are having our talk just one day before the Srebrenica massacre, which took place on July 11th in 1995. And we are presenting MIVION Radio Sarajevo, which is a testimony to the progressive advance of intolerance and nationalism. And the experiences told in the play force us to question the gradual increase of intolerance and nationalism that we see in the world today, but also to the strength and the importance of culture. So this is I feel a very important talk and conversation. And without further ado, I want to introduce you the protagonist of MIVION, which by the way was premiered in January 29th at Teatro Principal de Terrassa and will tour this coming fall in 2021. So first we have Carles Fernández, a director. He has a degree in law and theater direction, and after studying art history and visual arts, he chose the theater for the possibility it offers to integrate the different life and plastic arts. In 2009, he founded, alongside with Eugenio, the company La Conquesta del Pol Sud. And from its origins, the company's work has explored the connection between many compelling themes of daily life, using theater as a space for collective debate. And we're going to talk more about that, and documentary theater. The performances combine the experience of real-life testimonies on stage with journalistic investigation. And the company has won many awards for their projects. And the current projects are Trilogy, Nadia, Claudia, and Rafael, Suburbana, Land Full of Heroes, and MIVION. So thank you, Carles, for being here. Eugenio,
thank you very much. Thank you very
welcome.
much, Maria. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. And we're going to see Eugenio, I guess, Szwarcer.
Yes.
Okay.
You guessed right.
Thank you. Set and video design. He studied in Argentina and Barcelona, and he combines set design with video design in numerous productions. The essential themes of his work are the interaction between the action on stage and projected image and the use of a space as an expressive element. He has worked abroad with a very international and well-known creators, and as well as in with a lot of well-known directors in Catalonia and Spain. So thank you again also, Eugenio, for being here with us. And we are looking forward as well to talking to you and with all this set and video designed. And last but not least, we have Arza. I think it's, is it?
Azra.
Azra. Okay, thank you. We call like as a performer. He was born in Bosnia, but her family is from Srebrenica, and she flew with her mother to Spain because of the war. She has a bachelor's degree in translation and interpretation, and she's also a specialist in environmental governance in African countries. She's passionate about language as well as environmental protection. She has always been involved in performing arts through dance. But MIVION is her first professional experience on stage. So thank you also for being here with us, and we're looking forward to hear your voice.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, we don't have Bowen nor Mark due to professional commitments and travelings, but we also thank them for that. Well, thank you all for being here. It's really a great pleasure, and I hope I didn't leave anything out. So if so, please feel free to add anything that you would like to mention to the audience. And I would like to congratulate you all for this beautiful, moving, and poetic and poignant play. It's really, really moving. I saw the play like many times, and every time I saw something like different, and it's really moving. And before we start the chat, I just want to very quickly give a little background to the audience about the relationship between Barcelona and Sarajevo. On November 2000, the twinning protocol between Barcelona and Sarajevo was signed. So that meant that Barcelona and Sarajevo are sister cities. But the signing of this protocol represents the resuming of relations that began in 1992, in which the citizenship of Barcelona mobilized itself so that its solidarity and human aid reached the Bosnian capital. Actually, the mayor of Barcelona at the time, during the Olympic Games, Pasqual Maragall, created a District 11 called Sarajevo in the city of Barcelona. And after the war, Barcelona and Sarajevo signed their first collaboration agreement so as to start the reconstruction of the city. So there is a very strong bond relationship between Barcelona and Sarajevo. It's interesting how, like, Boban's story, I feel it's about the power of the human voice and words. And I can see that words are very important, and the weight of the work in the play, it's a very important, right? It's based on testimony. And I wonder, how do you find the voices for your project, especially for MIVION, and why MIVION? This is for Eugenio and Carles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very wide question, and every project has its particularity. Sometimes it's just a coincidence. Sometimes, like here in MIVION, we were working with Carles some time ago about the idea of nationalism. We weren't sure how this would end. In the meantime, Carles went to a meeting about refugees and dramaturgs in the Sala Beckett here in Barcelona, and there he met Boban. And he
we
came
are
with
talking.
the proposal.
We are talking of. It was in 2017, so 4 years ago, and we debuted with the play in 2021. So only to give you the idea of the time between we met Boban and the time that we worked with him. Sorry, Eugenio, please.
No. Usually the processes, as Carles was mentioning, are pretty long. I mean, it's an average of 2 years. And as I said, I mean, every project is a world, and the looking for these testimonies sometimes happens really easily and natural. And sometimes we really have to learn in a wider way what we are looking for. We have a subject, and then we start doing our homework by documentation and by reading a lot and looking movies and traveling. And it takes a long time till we know actually what are we looking for. So in this case, as I said, it was more or less fluent. We had this subject, nationalism. We had no idea how we get there. But then Boban appeared in Carles' life first, and then in my life too. And everything started to find its place.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that I was very, very impressed when I met Boban in this meeting. In that meeting, we were invited some refugees of the Mediterranean area. There were some refugees from Morocco, some refugees from Libya, Syria, and there were also Slobodan Minic and his wife, Dina Minic. And I remember that I was very impressed by the experience, by the life experience of Boban and his wife. I had the impression that he was speaking about our reality in Catalonia. He was speaking about how some people broken their society, and and his words impressed me a lot. And after that, I talked with Eugenio, and I said to him, Eugenio, I think that he has a very moving experience, and an experience who can that can connect with the Catalan Spanish society.
Exactly, because of, like, I was wondering if it's the seed of the project came because of the nationalism that it was growing in Catalonia, you know, with Spain, and it's been very it's international now, and so I was wondering if that was the seed for that project, and that relationship.
What's the idea of this construction? I mean, I'm also a foreigner here, and what calls my attention is how you construct this idea of we and the others, you know. I come from a pluricultural family, and for me, being bilingual was a gift. And suddenly here it was like a tool to make us different. And I was really shocked. And all these subjects came up. I mean,
yes.
We did before of MIVION, we did a really long trip through whole Eastern Europe with Carles for this project, A Land Full of Heroes. And then it started, and we started talking about this idea. Then the first time that we visited Sarajevo and Srebrenica was on that trip. And we were really wondering how this could happen. I mean, it was like we both knew a little bit the history of former Yugoslavia. And traveling around, we really were shocked how this all happened, you know. And Boban was the beginning of this key to understand how this construction of this discourse of the others were made in the former Yugoslavia.
So I guess also the question is like, yeah, go ahead, Carles. We have a little delay. Go ahead, Carles.
No. I was about to say that we work in our projects. We take as point of departure some questions. So, for MIVION, our point of departure was how is it possible that some people break society? How is it possible? And I have to say that after Boban, we were searching for another witness, another testimony, and we were very, very, very lucky because we met Azra, because we were searching for another voice, because we needed a voice who can establish a dialogue with Boban. And I have to say that we were very, very fortunate, very lucky to meet Azra, because we would like to put on stage also an intergenerational question, and so we needed some people more young than Boban, and then we can work with Azra.
I see, yeah, and I guess there's a lot of like questions about also what's identity and how and I'll talk to you, Azra, as well. But for me it was like one of the things that strikes me in the play, like that Slobodan, he says that it means free man in his own language, but when he comes to Spain and to Catalonia, he had to change his name, and now his name doesn't mean anything. And I wonder, like, what is identity? Do you lose your identity when you are, you know, in another country? And I guess, Azra, for you, there is a question that what do we need to understand about the lived experience of a war and coming apart that people are bringing with them into the new country, right? How we can educate ourselves to hold their experience, with knowledge and compassion, and also kind of preserve the identity of who you are. What is identity also? I don't know, it's a lot of questions in one, but if you can answer that, how we can learn from.
Yeah, well, in the first place, the same person the refugee must learn from her experience. That's the first stage of understanding and learning for the person, because that's a trauma that you live through, and like a trauma, you must, digest it and think about and understand why you went through that trauma. That's one of the questions that I had along. I mean, I was a baby, but I heard the stories, I heard the experiences from my mom, my dad, my grandma, my aunts, the other families, like my mom's aunts, my mom's, all of them mostly are women, because that was the gender that survived the most from Srebrenica. But we also have I also, as far as I was growing up, I mean, as long as I was growing up, I was understanding more from where did I came from, or from where did I come from, sorry, and what I am bringing in my backpack, just because I was born there, and just because my family is from there. So it's like, yeah, it's complicated for the same person to understand all this, and then be able to transmit that to the person and the people who wants to know you,
Mhm.
And in the beginning, I mean, I like how for example, I like how my mom adapted here, because first we arrived in País Vasco, the north of Spain, and then later we came to Catalonia when I was already 2 years old, something like that. So hearing my mom's experience, I am happy that she had the skills to adapt and the know-how. But she also explained to me, now I think about what I went through, and I can't believe that I went through all that. So it's just, sometimes life happens, and I think that we must stop and think, what did happen, and why, and and most importantly, what do we want to do with that? Because I also saw people like keeping resentment, other people keeping sadness in their life and not recovering, other people like just losing themselves, and other people just keep going. So, and the best scenario is the keep going one. So but yeah, I think for the other side, there are not sides here, but for the ones that are welcoming refugees or that want to know them, it's also important to keep the mind open, listen a lot, and share. Just have a conversation of sharing experiences, not trying to impose any feeling, or like, because I'm saying that because I see, for example, this narrative and discourses. If they come here, they must adapt here and do what we do and blah blah blah. And it's like, what do you exactly do in this country, in this globalized world, when we can have anything, and there's a lot of cultures at the same time. So it's just, I think that it's beautiful, the experience sharing that can come from that, and that brings people to see that we are not different at all.
Right. Mm-hmm. Did your mother go to see the play?
Yes, she came to the premiere. Yes. And she was very happy, moving as well, but very happy.
Yeah, I'm sure. I feel like sometimes that like they don't, most of like maybe the refugees, they don't talk about their experience, so they need another generation to really like talk about it and open up. So, but I feel like your mother, like she stopped and really like look back and then was able to really like talk about it to you?
Yeah, I think that, well, with my mom, we talked a lot, and especially because I engaged in this play, I have to say that it helped me to also analyze myself and my experience and the experience of my family's experience. But I think that, yeah, my mom could do that because, okay, I don't want that my words seem a bit, easy to say, but I feel like my mom, yeah, she came through a trauma. She went through a trauma, but she wasn't on site when Srebrenica happened. And I see the difference when I talk about the war, just the war, with my mom and with my aunt. I see that difference because my aunts, they don't want to talk much. They just want to keep going and leave that away and don't bring memories back. Whereas my mom it seems that she needs to remind herself that because she doesn't want that to be forgotten. Because when we don't speak, there's the danger that experience will disappear because we don't speak about it.
Right.
And it never happened. And that's the difference I see between them.
Right. And I was wondering also, thank you, Arza. Thank you. I was wondering also what's Eugenio, you experience, like you are a multicultural also person, and I was wondering how was your experience? How do you define identity as well? And I know it's a tough question, and then I asked that question here in the States. So, what is my identity here? So, but I was wondering, and what did you learn from MIVION? I know that you also mentioned I know I'm putting a lot of questions in one because I want to open to the audience, but I want to finish what I wanted to ask. Because also you mentioned in your website that what is vital for us is to find a unique format for each of our pieces. And I was wondering what is the unicity of this piece? So what did you learn from that experience? And also what is identity for you?
Wow. I mean, I come from Argentina, an immigrant land, where we are really, I mean, there's still happening the same that in all over the world. We have like now a lot of nationalism, but somehow when I look in this direction, it looks absurd for me because we are all a big mixture of everything, what's all over the world. So I'm half German, half Romanian, half Polish, whatever. So, and I would say on one side, I have an Argentinian identity, let's say. But for me, all this colorful background was always a positive point for me. So when I face those kind of narrow-minded, narrow-thinking issues, somehow I'm surprised. It's like it makes no sense to me. What did I learn? I mean, I'm still learning. Every time when I looked at the news, I'm somehow sad when I realize all this. When we worked there and we dissected how this discourse, how this narrative was constructed, now I see it popping up everywhere, so I learned the mechanics, but I'm somehow disappointed for our rulers right now. It's like, come on, people, if you know how it works, let's make it work differently. Don't go there. Don't put the accents there at the difference. Just look for similarities, just look for meeting points, just look for, instead of making us feel foreigners everywhere.
Exactly. And for you, Carles, I see your thinking.
First of all, I think that I learned to pay attention on words, because I during the working process of MIVION, we had the possibility to work with Boban, who is a person who worked a long time with words, and he said that words are very could be dangerous, because difference between people exist, okay, but we as a society, we have to choose which value, which sense we give to these differences. Difference exists, but we have to decide together what meaning to give to these differences. And after that, I learned to hear, because in our working processes, we have to hear many hours of with our testimonies. We have to share with them their experiences, and for me is and for Eugenio, I guess this is a privilege. This is a very big privilege, because my life, I was born in Barcelona, and now in our work I have the occasion to meet people with a very huge life experience, and this for me is very, and I learn a lot about these people. Our plays are based on curiosity.
Yes, I could see that. Like, yeah, I saw the website, and you travel and you listen, and I think it's really important, the listening, in order to understand.
The listening and to establish an empathy with these people.
A connection, right? And so how there's, I think there's a question that it's in your website, or you ask yourself, how can theater guide us towards a direct understanding of the world? And I feel your pieces, the documentary theater, is trying to guide to really understand the world. Through words and through testimony.
The idea is that
Go ahead.
The idea is that most of the information that we get fed with is really mediated. We are really used to look through screens and get fed with, and we are trying to stage really one-to-one relationship to a testimony. So you have first-hand information linked to global history, so everyone can relate to, but actually you are looking to the eyes to someone who went through this experience. There are no mediation. One characteristic of our work is also, because I mean there are lots of elements. You have the person speaking, you have lights, you have a set, is that we all agree about what we are narrating in every moment, so that also the testimonies understand fully the theatrical language that we are using to get to the audience. Why we are using this documentary piece now, why are we using this music now, and what are we building up to?
That's another question, and then I will open to the audience. I think we have already one question, but before we move to the audience, and exactly how you you feel like the journalistic investigation is like a sponge. You give a lot, like you take a lot and you listen and you have the testimonies, but then how you dramatize, how you put a piece into a play that can speak to the audience. And that process, I was wondering how you build that. How do you build that play? Building together, or you have already like a skeleton, like an idea, or through rehearsals, you're building up the play, and you accept suggestions from the testimonies, or it's already a more like a fixed idea of what you wanna, and how, what and how you wanna say.
Of course, there is a very important idea. We build our our plays, our performances, we build them with so our testimonies are authors as us of our plays. So in the working processes, the testimonies we can say that they guide us. They guide us between. They guide us through data, through some ideas, through, and I think that this is very important for us. Azra, Boban, and even Marc Soler are authors, as we are, of MIVION Radio Sarajevo. Of course, at the beginning, we have many ideas to start. We have something like a little structure, okay? But of course, these ideas, this structure, this dramaturgical structure change a lot after, for example, our documentation trips, okay? And this structure change even more with during the process of working with Azra, with Boban, because we love to say that we have a text. Our performances are based on texts, on words which are written. But this text for us is a point of arrival. Okay, not a point of departure. So we arrive together, all the crew, all the company. We arrive to a text, and we would like to think that this text is the core of the experience of our testimonies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, wonderful. I would keep asking questions, but I'm just going to open to the audience. And if not, I'll ask more questions. But thank you, Carles, Eugenio, and Azra. Thank you so much. So we have the first question. Well, there is an Anthony Lima. I don't have a specific question, and I must leave in about 7 minutes. But I just wanted to say that I very much enjoyed the production I watched last night, and I love the concept. The topics are so relevant globally. Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. And then we have a question. Nikki says, what is the significance of the name MIVION? I think it's said in the play, I think, but if you want to answer. And also, please feel free to put your questions in the chat and I will read them for you. Thank you. So yes, what's the significance of the name MIVION?
MIVION was the name of the radio program that Boban had back in Sarajevo. It is an acronym built of the words we, us, and them. He used it for talking about the artists, the audience, and the critics. It was a cultural program. And we took this name and we use it about the construction of the narrative of the others. You know, it's this we, us, and them. It's how you build up this discourse that you use as a fundamental stone to create nationalism, to create this idea of the others.
The other. Mm-hmm. So far, we don't have more questions, so I'll let the audience still sit into the conversation that we just had, and maybe some questions will pop up. Azra, how was your experience on the stage?
Yeah, well, I am familiar having a stage experience, but it was interesting because, well, as you said, I dance. But it was like, it's a hobby. And every time I had this contact with the stages only for dancing. I am not speaking, I try to have some expression in my face, but you know, when you dance, well, if you don't have it, it's okay. and yeah, I had to learn how to modulate my voice, how to express feelings or a feeling or induce a feeling to the audience through my voice as well. through my expression, my face expression, my movement as well on stage, and it was very, yeah, I think that it was very, very nurturing, this experience for me, because I learned that I could do things that I never knew. You know, it's just like I would never imagine myself being in a production, a theatrical production, and being in a theater for doing that. And yeah, I also liked very much how was organized, and how was put on me, you know, put it on table on for me, like how was the company not teaching us, but being with us through all the process, and yeah, kind of teaching us how to express actually and explain our experience in the end in a way that it won't be like a drama, but it will make the audience understand the weight of that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it actually. We laughed a lot as well.
It's like every performance different in terms of
through the creation. Yeah, well, when we are finding ourselves through the creation process, yeah, there were some variations in our performances, and in a kind of, I think that it's a play that it's quite flexible. If, for example, we want to introduce a specific point for a specific audience. Imagine, for example, a school, you know, you play for a school. It allows that. So it allows to keep the thread of the play and story, but presenting it in a different way. And that's also very nice, because it means that the play itself can grow as well. So
right.
It's cool.
Right. I heard
working with real testimonies makes us think our plays as they are living beings. I mean, we usually revisit our plays when something happened, when sometimes our testimonies itself, they say, hey, I'm not feeling comfort anymore with this scene. Let's rehearse it again and have a look at it, a closer look. Maybe Carles and I, we evolve and our ideas evolve and said, hey, I have to say something more about this and that in that moment. So yes, sometimes it's really difficult because you are on tour and then you cannot touch things because it's really fragile also. But we like to see it as living beings a little bit.
Right. Okay.
That continue growing over time.
I'll come back to that, but I have still like a question from Nikki. Please provide the words from which the acronym is derived. I guess he wants to know the language, Serbo-Croatian, I would say.
It's me, it's we, V, it's you, and oni, it's they.
In exactly.
Yeah.
Are the words? Yeah, he says. Are the words identical in all three languages?
Yes, there are no differences. A few differences, but
okay.
Croatian, Serbian. Nowadays, Croatian, Serbian, and Bosnian is the same language, but it's called different. Maybe there are some words, slightly different words for some names. I mean, yeah, for some nouns. For example, in Croatia, fork and knife, they may have a different word for it from Serbian and Bosnian. And maybe Bosnian language has some Turkish, some words that come from Turkish. But we can understand between like each other.
Like, yeah. I heard that maybe you'll go to Bosnia with the play, right? It looks like.
We hope so.
Hopefully.
We hope so.
So I wonder.
We hope so.
do you think like?
I mean, it was one of our first bets to say, okay, we have to do this. Boban and Asra were also insisting it has to be possible to do this. We would love to.
Exactly. Do you think like well, it's going to be very interesting if the piece adjusts or adapts, or because as you said, it's a living being. So after that experience, probably being in Bosnia, how it's going to affect all of you performing there, and with people that maybe, you know, they went through that, and they will, how it's going to be that experience for them and for you as well. So are you going to do any adjustments or anything before you go there, or what's your thoughts about it? Okay, we have another question here.
Okay.
Is the play only performed so far in Catalonia, or perhaps other parts of Europe?
I mean, the play was premiered during the pandemic, so we just performed it once.
Right.
We did a really long residence of 3 weeks in the theater for the creation, hoping, I mean, it was a moment where the curve was not so steep, so we were hoping everything would open afterwards, but they locked us up immediately after. So the play will be doing his first steps on touring next fall, on the beginning of 2022.
Yes, okay. Thank you. There is another question from Nikki as well. Is there any form of censorship? Do you need approval from anyone to perform the materials?
Sorry, Maria, could you repeat, please?
Is there any form of censorship? Do you need approval from anyone to perform the material? Like, because I guess you are like, you know, shooting and recording a lot of things. So if there is any censorship or you need any approval in order to perform the material?
No, at all. I mean, mostly, let's say 80 or 90% of the footage, we took it with Carles together in our trip to Bosnia, Serbia, and Croatia. So it's our things. We decide what goes on the play and what not. Mm-hmm. And the rest, I mean, we have also a lot of interviews that we performed with Boban's family, with Asra's family. Actually, when you asked before about our way of putting things on stage, I mean, in the meantime, while Carles is working with Asra, with Boban, and with Mark, I'm editing like wild. I don't know, I don't have really a goal. And then we start like playing like they are performing something on stage, and I put this image in the background, and we see what happened. We try to learn our own language. What is happening if I put on the same time this in the background while Asra is saying this and that, and then we construct something bigger than just the words or just the images or just. I don't really understand where this question is pointing at with this censorship idea. I mean, we never had any issues with censorship.
You never had any issues. Let's see if he gets more accurate questions. We have Edith from HB. Well, she says, I was struck by what Azra had to say about trauma, that you must digest it and move through it. I'm thinking that the pandemic has been a collective global trauma that has illuminated other traumas. I wonder what the panelists think, and will we digest it, and how we will digest it? What can we make of this? You know, like the pandemic trauma that we all been through. Any thoughts? You need some time.
Well, I think that maybe I will be the devil's advocate here, but I think that the pandemic can be a positive experience for as a species. I'm talking really globally as a species, but yeah, because you know I like environment, so I think that now I'm putting my small comment here, like an environmentalist from Greenpeace or something. But no, but yeah, I think that we must learn a lot from this pandemic, first of all, and not blaming why it came to us, because yeah, it can be a positive way out from the situation that we were before the pandemic. I think it was not the best situation that we had as a species before the pandemic. So I just think that, yeah, let's see the positive side of it.
Yes.
Not drowned to the
Where we end up.
yeah.
And Eugenio and Carles, any thoughts about it? We have a couple more questions, but go
yeah, the pandemic trauma. Yeah, I think more or less the same thing that Azra. I think that the pandemic has led us to a new vision of our world. Okay, now maybe we are more aware than things can change. And now we are more aware that maybe we think that we have many things, a lot of comfort, a lot of material things, but probably now we think that these things are not so important. And personally, I speak about my experience. Now I think that our world, our society could change in a few in very quick.
Yeah, so it speed up
yeah,
things probably. And Eugenio.
I had some hope on the pandemic. Actually, I'm a little bit like Astra. We have the same kind of view on this. Now I'm a little bit disappointed. I had a feeling somehow that the thoughts that I went through when we were locked up and it was more a global thing. But now somehow I'm facing a lot of people that are stuck and wanting to go back to what we had before. And for me, it was an immense chance to really put a question mark on where we were before the pandemic. And we all saw that all this big machine that they were always told to us, no, because the system can never stop. Yes, it can stop. And so it stopped for the pandemic. It could stop to make a lot of other changes and how we behave towards nature, for example. Because it was always the excuse, we cannot stop industry, we cannot stop that because of global warming or whatever. Yes, we can.
Right.
But I have the feeling that this idea is fading slowly.
Yeah, well, Carles is like hesitant with that thought. If you want to add something to this, I really hope that.
No, sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, I was just saying that you were like nodding your head about what Eugenio was saying.
But I agree with him. The only thing is that now I think that the system hasn't stopped.
You feel that it hasn't stopped?
For example, somebody, it hasn't stopped, yeah. Somebody thinks that, for example, Amazon stopped during the pandemic, for example.
No, Amazon boom.
Actually, we're not.
So yeah. I agree with Eugenio in the main idea, but maybe the system is stronger than we think now. So
Invincible.
anyway, I think that for changes, the first thing that we need for change things, I am very convinced that are ideas, new ideas, maybe old ideas that we can use now, but I think in a positive way. on this pandemic, because I think that probably in the future, in the close future, we will think about new ideas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, actually, Edith said yes. Beautiful. Thank you, all three of you, for your perspective. Let it not fade. So yes, hopefully. Okay, we are reaching our end of the talk, but we have a couple of questions. First, Anthony, I live in Biarritz. So if there is a performance in Bilbao, that's Spain, or San Sebastian, where can I find information for future if touring is possible? So I guess
in our website.
In the check the website. It's La Conquesta del Pol Sud altogether.com.
No. Laconquesta.com.
Laconquesta.com, right? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we can write on the chat. If you
La Conquesta. No, they don't have access to the chat, so I'm just laconquesta.com. Yes, I already said to him. Okay, I have a couple of questions. Reynaldo, actually, is one of my students. Thank you for being here. So, hello, everyone. It was a great performance and very good production. So my question is, how long did you guys rehearse for the show, and how did you rehearse during the pandemic time? Well,
then first of all, we canceled twice the premiere date. So first we had to premiere in July 2020. Okay, we had to cancel. Then we had to premiere in November. Am I correct, Eugenio? In
yes,
November, isn't it? November, yeah. And we had to we had to cancel it again. And the third, we reached to premiere at the end of January 21. Okay, January 21.
So how long we rehearsed? I know our processes are really long.
Yeah,
we were always working on how to make efficient our work. I mean, in the past, our heritage came from normal text theater, so we came a little bit with this structure of 6 weeks. And every project we improve, we put pauses in between, because we learned that when we do a trip or when we rehearse, all this material has to settle a little bit before we can continue. So I don't know how long we rehearsed for MIVION.
Oh, no, for MIVION, I was counting now. For MIVION, we rehearsed for 8 weeks. 8 weeks, but you have to consider that we had to stop the rehearsals for more or less 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, then we had 6 weeks of rehearsals, and then a stop of 3 weeks, and after that 3 weeks on stage rehearsing. Okay.
For us, it's really important for the creation process. At the end, we really need everything, because we are there. On one side, you have the text, on the other side, you have a set, video, whatever. But this putting all the elements together, this creating this global language of what is happening on stage, takes us a lot of time with really everything. We need to have the set, we need to have all the technique, we need to have the light designer, sound designer, and all working together.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And this is a very interesting part of the work, putting all the elements together. Okay, I think that the core of our work on stage is putting things together. Okay, and you have to consider that, as you've seen in the video, I guess, we work a lot with images. Okay, then for us, the video, the images are like another character on the play. Okay, so we have to give the images the space, their voices with their movements. Okay, and this is a thing that in the case of MIVION, we had 3 weeks, and we had time enough to put all these things together, mainly to work with images, with images and the testimonies like Arza and Mark.
Okay, great, thank you. We have 2 more questions, and then that's gonna be it. And so Nikki is the person who was talking about the censorship. He says, I asked about censorship because freedom of thought and expression is being severely curtailed in many areas of the world, including the US, where many forces are attempting to control the production of knowledge, and teachers are being prevented from teaching the truth of history in classrooms. In Hungary and Poland, you cannot express the truth about the Holocaust. So he's like trying, I'm not sure, sorry. So that's why it was asked about the censorship. And then Linda, she's asking, when you say words are dangerous, how do you check yourself that you're not unknowingly perpetuating the hurtful of dangerous kind? Do you want me to? Yeah, so how you catch it?
I would like to say that we focused on direct experiences. So we try to keep ourselves, from the artistic point of view, we try to keep ourselves very close to the experience. For us, working with testimonies is give us a very seguridad, no sé cómo es diu.
Safety.
Yeah, we feel very safety because we keep our work very close to the direct experiences. Okay, so we are not sure.
Yeah, we can have an opinion, but the experience is not questionable.
Yeah, we try to keep ourselves very close to experience and to facts, facts which have been experienced directly for our testimonies, by our testimonies.
But I guess like choosing images and all that, it's also you're showing a point of view, right, with your play and the format and the shape of the play. So, okay.
Of course. But for example, with these images, okay, we use images to give a context to the audience, okay, to make the audience able to understand the environment of the experience. Okay, and we try to be honest on our works. Okay, and there is another thing. We don't want to say a big truths. Okay, grans veritats.
Yeah, like a statement.
Yeah. Our aim is to share with the audience some questions.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Carles. I hope, Linda, your question was answered, and we don't have any more questions, and it's already like 3:06 here and 9:06 in Spain. Do you wanna, like, before we close, or do you wanna add anything else that hasn't been asked, or anything that you would feel like I want to share that thought, or anything you want to add?
No, I wanted to say something about, about this discourse behind what, sure, if you analyze from the subject that we choose, you can find the ideology behind. But as Carles said, we try to keep to the facts. For sure, if we do a deeper analysis of our whole plays and everything, you will learn a little bit who we are and how we think. But really, we try to stick to the facts. So that, and put on stage a lot of questions. It's also interesting for you to know that this is the second play that where Carles and I are not on stage. So usually the first 3 plays, we were also there as representative of our own opinions and of our own experience during the process. We were there with our questions, with our differences, so somehow we were staging this relationship that where we don't always agree. I mean, we had also disagreements, and you can see it and feel it on stage. But we like to leave a lot of questions open and to give you some homework to take with you back home.
Home and think about it.
Yeah, and continue developing this idea.
Okay. Well, there is an anonymous spectator. He said, thank you, an anonymous audience. So he said, thank you, or she said, thank you, or they say, thank you. I would like to thank you really all for being here, for doing the kind of theater you're doing. I think it's a very particular documentary theater, and I was even wondering how you end up doing documentary theater. Is something, it was by choice, by fate, but what you're doing, it's a really wonderful and very, very necessary work and nowadays. So I really thank you, Azra, for also being here. Thank you so much. And I was wondering, how is the house project coming up in Srebrenica? You were mentioning that at the end of the play.
Oh, well, that's an idea.
Okay.
One of Carla's ideas, you know. We must have small ideas and then become bigger. But yeah, I mean, it's not
happening now, but
it's not happening, but it will. But
it will. Hopefully, it definitely.
Yes.
Hopefully, it will. So
Yes.
Thank you, Azra, and also good luck.
Thank you.
And Eugenio, and also Carles, thank you so much for the company, for the work you're doing. And there is a sentence at the end of not the end of the play, but it also caught and this, I was struck by the sentence in richness is different, like richness is in the difference. So I was like, yeah, it's true, right? And the listening and the understanding of each other, how we connect as human beings as well. So thank you for the play, for the work. Thank you so much, the audience, that you stay with us this hour and then you watch the play. And thank you for being in our second public conversation. We have, as Edith mentioned, our third one coming up in October. So hopefully we'll see you there as well. And without further ado, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, the 3 of you and everyone in the audience. And I'll see you next time. And I hopefully good luck and break a leg for the play, and hopefully you can tour the play in many, many, many places around the world, and hopefully New York City as well. We're opening up, so
we hope so. We hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.